Brilliance Audio presents Dance of Dreams by Nora Roberts, performed by Angela Daw. The cat lay absolutely still on his back, eyes closed, front paws resting on his white chest. The last rays of the sun slanted through the long vertical blinds and shone on his orange fur. He was undisturbed by the sound of a key in the lock which broke the silence of the apartment. He half opened his eyes when he heard his mistress's voice, but closed them again, just as lazily, when he noted she was not alone. She'd brought that man home with her again, and the cat had no liking for him. He went back to sleep.
"But Ruth, it's barely 8 o'clock. The sun's still up."
Ruth dropped her keys on the dainty Queen Anne table beside the door, then turned with a smile.
"Donald, I told you I had to make it an early evening.
Dinner was lovely. I'm glad you talked me into going out."
"In that case,"
he said, taking her into his arms in a practiced move,
"let me talk you into extending the evening."
Ruth accepted the kiss, enjoyed the gentle surge of warmth just under her skin. But when he pulled her closer, she drew away.
"Donald."
Her smile was the same easy one she had worn before the kiss.
"You really have to go." "A nightcap,"
he murmured, kissing her again, lightly, persuasively.
"Not tonight."
She moved firmly out of his arms.
"I have an early class tomorrow, Donald, plus a full day of rehearsals and fittings."
He gave her a quick kiss on the forehead.
"It'd be easier for me if it were another man, but this passion for dancing—"
He shrugged before reluctantly turning to leave. Was he losing his touch? He wondered. Ruth Bannion was the first woman in over 10 years who had held him off so consistently and successfully. Why, he asked himself, did he keep coming back? She opened the door for him, giving him one last lingering smile as she urged him through. A glimpse of her silhouette in the dim light before she shut the door on him answered his question. She was more than beautiful. She was unique. Ruth was still smiling as she hooked the chain and security lock. She enjoyed Donald Kaiser. He was tall and dark and stylishly handsome, with an acerbic humor and exquisite taste. She respected his talents as a designer, wore a number of his creations herself, and was able to relax in his company when she found the time. Of course, she was aware that Donald would have preferred a more intimate relationship. It had been a simple matter for Ruth to decide against it. She was attracted to Donald and was fond of him, but he simply did not stir her emotions. While she knew he could make her laugh, she doubted very much that he could make her cry. Turning into the darkened apartment, Ruth felt a twinge of regret. She felt abruptly, unexpectedly alone. Ruth turned to study herself in the gilt-framed rectangular mirror that hung in the hallway. It was one of the first pieces she had bought when she had moved into the apartment. The glass was old, and she had paid a ridiculous price for it, despite the dark spots near the top right-hand corner. It had meant a great deal to Ruth to be able to hang it on the wall of her own apartment, her own home. Now, as the light grew dim, she stared at her reflection. She had left her hair down for the evening, and it flowed over her shoulders to swing past her elbows. With an impatient move, she tossed it back. It lifted, then settled behind her, black and thick. Her face, like her frame, was small and delicate, but her features weren't even. Her mouth was generous, her nose small and straight, her chin a subtle point. Though the bones in her face were elegant, the deep brown eyes were huge and slanted cat-like. The brows over them were dark and straight. An exotic face, she had been told, yet she saw no beauty in it. She knew that with the right makeup and lighting she could look stunning, but that was different. That was an illusion, a role, not Ruth Bannion.